Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on a Saturday, April 26th, 2014. I say that because we recorded it a little bit early. Recorded April 21st, 2014. This is episode 1077. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Lantronix, maker of the Xprint server. Print from any Android phone, tablet, Chromebook, or Kindle Fire to virtually any printer. For more information, visit xprintserver.com/twit. And don't forget to use the offer code TWIT to receive free shipping on your order. And by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used Apple and Android devices are worth at gazelle.com. And by ShareFile. Enhance your workflow. Send files of almost any size easily and securely with ShareFile from Citrix. Try ShareFile today for a 30-day free trial. Go to sharefile.com, click the microphone, and enter Tech Guy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Time for the Tech Guy Show. We talk on this show about computers and the internet, and we help you buy a smartphone. We help you choose a smartphone. We help you get your home theater in shape. Scott Wilkinson will be coming up later today. Help you travel easier. We talk about anything with a chip in it and have a lot of fun doing it. I'm going to get to phones in just a second. I should tell you our website is techguylabs.com. Techguylabs.com. And that's where you can go to not only get links to the chat room, which is a wonderful place, I got to tell you, get the phone number, but you can also get answers to questions from the show. So what is this, episode 1077? There's 1,076 shows up there, audio and video, and you can listen, you can watch. We break it down by day and then further by question. So you could say, hey, in hour 3, that guy asked that question. What's the answer to that? You can go watch the video or listen to it. You can read my answer, and you can comment too. That's all at techguylabs.com. That would be awfully nice. And if you would do that, I would greatly appreciate it. No charge at any time. It's all free, thanks to our great sponsors. So this was the week that the Supreme Court reviewed the Aereo decision. And, it's hard to say whether this is going to be one of the landmark Supreme Court decisions, and goodness knows it's, there's some pretty big ones in the history of the Supreme Court, or just another narrow decision about a specific kind of technology. But I have to think that people will look back at the decision and say, that was a turning point. And it could go either way. So let me talk a little bit about what this is. Maybe you don't know Aereo. It's in a few cities, New York. I think it was in Denver until they lost a court case there. The idea is it's kind of clever. The company was pretty obviously designed to avoid exactly the kind of lawsuit they're facing from the networks. What they do is they have a dime-sized antenna. I mean, literally the size of a dime that they put in a rack and then some hard drive space, and you rent it. You pay a subscription fee to Aereo. You have to live in the city that the antenna is in, New York City, or its area. When you want to watch local TV, instead of going to your TV set, turning it on, aiming your antenna, you fire up your iPad or your computer and you log into your Aereo account and you watch the TV that's coming into their antenna. It is an antenna. It is like a rabbit ears on a television set. The TV comes into it. You can press a record button, say, hey, record it. I'll watch that later. And you can watch recorded shows later, again, on your computer, your tablet, mobile phone as you move around. It's I can't remember what it was, $15 a month, something like that. It's a very cool, I think, a very cool and interesting technology. But you might wonder, well, what do they need these dime-sized antennas for? And that's because they say they're renting antennas and recording space to customers. And it's up to the customer then to press play, record the show. They don't provide content. This is really important. in this issue. Now, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, FX, everybody's upset about this because your local television station and the networks they're affiliated with charge the cable company, Comcast or Cox or Time Warner, whoever your cable company is, for retransmission rights. They make quite a bit of money. So when you, and it's kind of maybe counterintuitive because I think most of us who grew up with television think, well, you know, Channel 4, Channel 2, or it's Channel 3, whatever your local channels are, those are free, right? They're over the air. They have advertisements in them. They're not like HBO. I didn't have to pay for them. HBO doesn't have any ads because I pay for it. No, they have ads in there, and that's how they pay for the programming. Now, but then that is true if you have an antenna. If you have a cable company, well, in fact, not only do you still see the ads, but you pay for those channels, in effect, in your cable bill, because the cable bill pays the channel for access, for retransmission rights. Those companies have become very fat and happy on those retransmission rights, and they're a little miffed because Aereo pays them nothing. Aereo says, well, we don't have to pay you. We have nothing to do with your content. We aren't a television broadcast, rebroadcaster. We're not a cable company. We just rent antennas and hard drives. And our customers, why? Whatever you're talking about. Well, they've won in court. They won again in court, and the networks kept appealing, and finally those appeals have gone all the way to the Supreme Court. And on Tuesday, lawyers for Aereo and lawyers for, I think it was CBS was the official suing company, I can't remember, one of the networks, went to court and answered questions about this case from the Supreme Court. And at some point, ABC, sorry, the American Broadcasting Company versus Aereo. And at some point in the next few months, the Supreme Court will rule, and this will be a big deal because Aereo says if the Supreme Court rules against us and says we have to pay for access to those TV shows, we're out of business. We will go out of business. And ABC and CBS and Fox say if we don't get money from Aereo, well, at least a few I think FX said this, we're going to pull our stuff off of broadcast television. You're going to have a cable subscription to get it. Now, it really matters to you and me. So those are the two interests who are arguing in the Supreme Court. But there's a third interest, our interest, the public interest. Because if you don't want to have a cable company, but you'd like the convenience of being able to watch when you want to watch on whatever you want to watch on, Aereo's a pretty good deal. Aereo's pretty appealing. And I think there are definitely restrictions in place. You have to live in that city. You can't go somewhere else. You have to be there. I'm actually, on the legal merits of this are complicated. And the justices, interestingly enough, seem to show quite a bit of understanding. Well, all except for one. Justice Scalia, Antonin Scalia, seemed a little confused. I think about the technology in general, but also about TV. Apparently, he doesn't want to watch a lot of TV because he thought that HBO was a free over-the-air channel. No, it's not. It's, of course, you pay a lot of money. And I think most people knew. On the other hand, some of the judges, like Judge Sonia Sotomayor, she's got a Roku box. She understands this quite well, clearly demonstrated that with her questions. And furthermore, a number of the judges, Sotomayor and Justice Kennedy as well, raised issues that are kind of bigger than just the Aereo case, that Dropbox and Google and Roku itself might be damaged by an adverse decision in this case, that suddenly Dropbox even might be seen, or Google might be seen as a company, if it's got copyrighted content stored on its servers, their cloud service providers, that they're liable for that. And the judges were very interested in saying, we don't want to do a decision that's, how do we protect this? Because we don't think that's not our intent here. On the other hand, the justices were pretty clear that they understood that what Aereo was doing was a little bit of a, hey, pay no attention to that. It's an antenna. It's just an antenna. And it's pretty obvious that they created this whole thing to kind of go around this issue of having to pay for retransmission fees. But for cord cutters, it's a great thing. And it really is an interesting case. And I think the decision here could really make a big difference. It is ultimately the battle between the people who distribute the content. People who make the content aren't even in this game. People who distribute the content and the people who watch the content, you and me. And I think we want it to be free and open. And you know, we're willing to pay, but are we? I mean, I don't know. On the other hand, don't you think you should pay to watch network television? Well, you don't have to if you haven't. See, it's very confusing. What do you think? Let's talk about it. We're going to watch with great interest. This is a big case, and it's really interesting to watch how technically literate or illiterate some of these judges are. I'm actually mostly pleased. Most of them really seem to know what they're talking about here. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll go to the phones. You are listening to The Tech Guy Show. I'm Leo Laporte. Stay right here. I am Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. We go to the phones. Look who's sitting there. I should give OMG Chad a little nod. Heather Hammond not here today. She's got the day off. The old redhead himself filling in from beautiful Austin, Texas. Right? Let me turn your microphone.
Yeah, that'd be great.
They can hear you now.
I don't even know.
You don't know how this works, do you?
No, I don't. Do I?
Did you get a
that?
quick lesson in how this
Literally
works?
Seconds before we went live, John, our studio manager, ran over and goes, "Okay, you just hit this button to answer a call.
Hey, kid,
type in stuff
how'd you
there.
like to be on national radio? Let's go.
You want a job in radio? You got it.
You got it. Well, thank you, Chad, for filling in at the last moment.
No problem.
Let's say hello to Evan in Phoenix, Arizona, our first call of the day. Hey, Evan. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.
Hi, Leo. Actually met you on the New Year's Eve cast. I was the one who brought the sand in that you're probably still cleaning up.
Oh, not sand, sand.
Sand it is.
It was from, where was it from? From Sweden or somewhere.
Yeah, it was Sweden. It was one of those. I can't even remember where I got it. It was at O'Hare Airport. There was a store there that had it.
Well, it's nice to talk to you again. Yeah, I was really stoked to play with it. This was the weirdest thing. It's sand that's so fine that it, I guess it's surface tension. It's clinging together, and so you can mold it and form it. It doesn't actually get anywhere. It's quite tidy.
It had some kind of a molecule in there to
some polymer binding it. It was weird.
Yeah, it actually worked better at the airport.
Yeah. How often do you hear that? So wait a minute. Here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you, because the reason I say sand is because it has an umlaut, or what is that? Some circle thing over the A.
Yes. Everything about it was unusual.
Sand. Oh, it's from Brookstone. Pack it, pull it, shape it, love it. Well, you'll be glad to know that the sand is still with us, and we're still playing with it. What can I do for you, Evan?
Well, I had a question. I always try to use your sponsors, of course.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
I am thinking about starting a blog, and everybody is recommending that I use WordPress, and I'm just wondering what the difference between WordPress and Squarespace would be.
About $8 a month. So there are, if you want to do a blog, there are lots of ways to do a blog. It's not just WordPress. Google has Blogger. They call it blogspot.com, but it's the Blogger platform. WordPress.com is, both of these are what we call hosted blogs. They do the hosting and the software. You don't have much control of it. They are free, but you may also see that ads appear in your blog from time to time. That's how they pay for it. And I think they're very good. Free is the difference mostly. Free in the appearance of ads. Squarespace you pay for, but it's yours. It's on your. You control the URL, you control the domain, there's no ads. So I don't think, especially if you're just trying this out for the first time, I don't think there's any reason not to use WordPress.com. Lots of people do. Another one to think about is Tumblr, which is also free. TUMBLR.com. That's a Yahoo property. All three of those, Blogger, Tumblr, and WordPress, I think are very good free solutions. What is your blog going to be about?
Well, I hate to say it, but I'm thinking about doing it on travel.
Don't worry. Johnny Jet can take it. It's okay.
There will be no competition for quite some time for Johnny Jet.
A blog is a fun thing to do. It really is. And at its very base, it's a diary. It's a personal diary of your life, which you may be doing in public so that family and friends could read it. Maybe you have higher aspirations. You want to generate an audience. You may just be doing it just to save it so that you can read it later or your kids can read it later. All of those are very good reasons. And frankly, a lot of the content that's on the internet is people's personal blogs. So I don't think there's any reason, not to do it. Absolutely do it.
I figure I can start out doing it just on Facebook for friends and kind of see where it goes.
Well, that's a good point. You can use Facebook, can't you? Now, let me tell you the issue, which is you don't truly control the platform, certainly not with Facebook, and even not with if you're doing it with Tumblr or on WordPress or Blogger. They can kick you off at any time. They could decide that your content doesn't, they don't do it that often, but they could decide your content's inappropriate or whatever. It isn't really yours. You're contributing, just like with Twitter and Facebook, you're contributing to another company's site by putting your content up there. If you think that this is going to be a kind of more serious, more professional thing, it probably is worth going to Squarespace because then you own it. It's yours. The domain name is yours. It's your place, and you can mess around with it. It's more flexible in the ways you can interact. Now, I do recommend everybody, no matter what you're doing, you have a Squarespace, or rather a Facebook site and Twitter, and you might even want a YouTube account and put videos up there and all of that stuff. So it's not that you don't do all of that, but if you want to it sounds like you think this might be like an occupation going forward.
At some point,
yeah.
And I think monetizing it will be a separate conversation.
Well, and if that's the case, then I would probably, you might want to start with At $8 a month is not the end of the world, right? And you might want to start with Squarespace because you want to kind of start with whatever you're going to end up with. You don't want to move it around. And what you'll want to do is register a domain name that is, whatever, evanontravel.com.
Yeah, I've already done like 6 of them. I keep changing my mind.
That's good. It's cheap, $10, no big deal. I would do that so that, and the nice thing about that is even if you did move from WordPress to Squarespace or the other way around, as long as it's evanontravel.com, which is a made-up name, folks, don't go there, it would go with you. So that would point to whatever you decide you want your site to be. Now, here's the thing. All of the things we just described, you can try for free, including Squarespace. So it wouldn't be the end of the world to say, let's make some content on any of those. You can import from WordPress and Tumblr and Blogger into Squarespace. Let's make some content, see what it looks like on the various things, how easy it is to post, for instance, how easy it is to maintain comments, to manage, how good it looks. Can you get that site to look like you want? My experience with Blogger particularly is that it's fairly limited in how it looks. WordPress, there are a lot more templates, a lot more things you can do. Tumblr, there are a lot of templates. Tumblr's easy to post to, has its own kind of community going on around it. Each of them has their own flavor. I don't know if one's better than the other.
All right, well, that gives me a starting point. There's just so much social media out there, as Sarah Lane will tell you.
Yeah, you got to do that too. You can't not do that. It's, all of this is about building a presence online. And it really, by the way, is a good idea for everybody because sometimes if you don't build a presence online, somebody else may. Your friends might start posting pictures of you and then that becomes the Google result. You want your site to be the Google result. So even if you don't have a whole lot to say, I think it's a good idea to do this. Hey, nice to talk to you, Evan. Thanks for the sond. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. More of your calls coming up. The website, techguylabs.com. That's where all the links will be. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. I did mention the website. It is a great place to go if you want to join us in chat. The link is there, but also information about the show, about every show, questions and answers, show by show. This is episode 1077. You just go there, and if there's something you heard on the air, you don't have to remember it, don't have to write it down. Just remember one thing, techguylabs.com. Warren's next in New York. I'm sorry, Warren, you're coming up. James is next in Pennsylvania. Hi, James. Leo Laporte, the tech.
Hi, Leo. It's great to talk to you.
Thanks for calling, James.
Hey, I had a question related to Heartbleed, and I know you've talked in the past about Synology NAS boxes, which I have one. And since Heartbleed had occurred, I went ahead and updated the software on there.
Good.
To the latest and greatest.
Good.
But my concern is it has something called Cloud Station that is like a Dropbox alternative for your own cloud.
Yeah.
With things like that, and then using WebDAV as well to connect to files, I'm sure multiple services like that use OpenSSL.
Yes.
And I was just curious what you thought about, do I need to do anything else beyond what I did, or do I need to somehow deactivate those services and reactivate them to create a new certificate, or what, what you think the plan there should be?
So, yes, Heartbleed did bite Synology NASes. So that's a really important point. A lot of times the reporting on Heartbleed, which was this security flaw that allowed a bad guy, and has allowed bad guys for 2 years, to ping web servers and say, hey, give me 64K of your memory. Give me 64K of your best memory. And the server goes, yep, here you go. And inside there could be passwords, logins, all sorts of stuff. This is a pretty serious bug. And in fact, apparently the OpenVPN package on the Synology does use that OpenSSL library. They are trying to patch it. In fact, on the I'm looking at the Synology forums, and they do have, in fact, some patch information. But so DSM, which is that software, uses OpenSSL, and it uses a vulnerable version. Do you have, I don't know if you need a new certificate. That's an interesting question. I wonder who provides a certificate. You didn't go out and get a certificate, right? So
I did not. I'm assuming that it was just part of...
I think it's just a Synology certificate,
Yeah, I think so too.
So I presume when they do an update that is one of the things that will update.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking at this very long forum thread from Synology. This is a really great question because there are people running servers that don't know it. They're running network-attached storages. These are the boxes that they're computers, but they don't look like computers. They have no keyboard, no mouse, no monitor. They just sit in your closet, but they're media servers, but they may also be open to the outside world, as yours is, which is great. I mean, it allows you to log in and get files from anywhere and things like that, but it also means it's vulnerable. If it is public-facing, it's vulnerable. Apparently many routers are also vulnerable. So this is kind of a problem. Yeah.
In fact, I have the router that I use is pfSense, which you can just put on, any hardware, install it. And I went through that whole process.
Did they update it?
They did. I upgraded the software, and then just to be safe for the OpenVPN connection, I went ahead and just deleted the certificates in there and recreated all of that from scratch.
But see, this is the kind of thing that most users are going, what? Do I have to do what? I mean, and almost everybody now has a router. A lot of people have NAS, and it's not just Synology. All the NAS hardware platforms you should check. You should go back. So here's what you do. If you have anything in your house that is on the internet, that is open to the internet, like a router, like network-attached storage, even an operating system, although we can tell you that Macintosh and Windows are not vulnerable to this bug. But if you had anything that's serving content to the public net, you should go to the website for the manufacturer and check and hope that they've fixed it. And if they have, make sure you patch it. And it isn't easy. You just heard what James had to go through. You had to get new certificate. I mean, this is crazy stuff for a router. At least yours is updatable. Most consumer-grade routers, there never is going to be an update for. We're just going to live with it.
Yeah.
Now, how big a problem is that? That's another question. I mean, if your router's leaking 64K of memory every once in a while, I don't know exactly what anybody's going to get from that.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, I'm nobody in terms of somebody trying to.
If you turn off LAN administration, the ability to administer the router from outside, I think that would be sufficient to protect you. What that would mean is that even if somebody did sniff your router, get your password and your login for your router, they still would be prevented from logging in from the outside world.
Yeah.
I think just off the top of my head, that would be sufficient. We recommend that anyway. And there's very few people need to administer their router from the outside world, from down the street or from across the country. Why would you do that? You do that from inside the house. So as long as you say nobody outside the house has access to you, I think you're probably all right.
Okay.
But I'm fascinated by the fact that you had to worry about Heartbleed.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I guess I probably would have been fine. It's just in a home,
is your Synology open to the public?
It's actually, I have port forwarding on the router, so I'm not using the router function in the Synology itself.
But I wonder. I mean, do you use it for VPN, for instance?
Not directly. I will browse to it for files and things like that, but I use the VPN on the router itself instead of the Synology.
Wow. Yeah, so that's a router that's very important to upgrade. It's just a fascinating situation. The top 10,000 servers have, for the most part, the big ones, been fixed. 0.53%, and this is as of April 21st. I don't have anything more up to date, but of the top 10,000 routers, top 1,000 websites, only 0.53% have any problem. They've been 90% have been fixed. 99.5% have been fixed. Of the top 100,000 routers, 1.5% have not been fixed. Of the top million, as you start to get down to these smaller servers and smaller sites and so forth, 2% are vulnerable. Well, 2% of a million is, what is that, 20,000? That's a lot. It's not insignificant. Not insignificant. So this is being fixed, but not super fast. And, the real question is, of the sites that still have Heartbleed, how many important sites, financial sites, for instance, have Heartbleed? And how many, more to the point, have told their customers to change the password? Some banks haven't said a word about it. Not a peep. Because they don't want to scare people. But you don't know. That means you don't know.
Yeah.
Prudent thing is to do exactly what you did, which is check to see if anything that's on the public internet, like your router or a NAS, is bit. And if it is, fix it. And then to change all your passwords. I mean, just everything that you want to be secure, whether you know there's a problem or not, just change them. Why not?
Yeah. Leo, just one quick tip yet for anybody who is a LastPass listener. I'm sure you've probably even shared this already, but there's a great feature in LastPass that lets you do a security check of the websites that you have listed in there for your password.
I love that, James.
And it's great. You don't change your password till you know their site's secure.
I did exactly that because in the security, and they added this after Heartbleed. They've always had the security check. It'll check for things like duplicated passwords across multiple sites. That's not safe. Bad passwords. But now it checks for Heartbleed, and it'll say, change it now, or don't change it now, or we don't know. Very useful. Another reason to go to LastPass. James, it's great to talk to you. Thanks for calling.
Thank you, Leo.
8888 Ask Leo, the website, techguylabs.com. And more to come in just a bit. Leo Laporte. I am Leo Laporte. That's me. I am Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Back to the phones we go. Warren is on the line from is it New York, New York? Hello, Warren.
Hey.
How are you? Are you in the Big
How
Apple?
you doing?
Are you in the Big Apple?
No, Hudson Valley up north.
Oh, it's so pretty up
A
there.
little bit.
Oh, I love the Hudson Valley.
Bard and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's where my daughter went to college
I know.
at Bard.
Outside the river. Yep.
Right now, it's probably gorgeous. The snow's melting.
Yep. Now it's gone. It's actually beautiful.
You got
today.
crocuses
I can't complain.
popping up. It's
Yep.
so pretty there. Well, I envy you. You live in a beautiful. If you survive winter, you live in a beautiful part of the country.
Winters. But gotta love it.
What can I do for you, Warren?
Well, first thing I got to say is don't not do anything with your son or your kids, because if you can do it, do it.
Well,
That's the
so
most
I'll tell you a little
I
secret.
regret not doing some of this stuff with my kids in college.
Yeah.
So,
I was flattered. I was telling this off the air, and I guess you heard it, that my son Henry called like last minute and said, "Oh, by the way, this weekend, can you come to my father's son get-together at my frat?"
right.
And it's in Boulder, Colorado. I mean, I had to get a flight. But you're right. I wouldn't miss it for the world. And I was, frankly, surprised that he asked. So you bet I'm not going to say no to that, even though I had to get last-minute plane tickets, and that's not cheap. But
yeah, I hear you there.
that was worth
kind of what I regret not doing what I.
Oh.
You know? So you know.
You're gonna make me cry, Warren.
That's okay.
I'm sure your kids love you to bits.
They try. I got spousal acceptance question.
Okay.
All my Rokus, my Apple TVs that I got in the house, probably 4 or 5 of each of them.
Driving the wife crazy.
Well, she's saying there's a killing the internet. You know, when she goes on with the laptop stuff.
It's only killing the internet when you're watching.
Well, that's the problem. You don't shut them off.
Yeah, but they're not downloading anything when you're not watching. They're just
Well,
sitting there.
Yeah, but what happens, like, I just shut the TV off. I don't,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, no, yeah. Well, so you're watching House of Cards, right? And
Actually, Twit.
Twit. Okay, you're watching us.
I got
Okay.
Twit on
Well,
24/7
okay.
on
Twit's
all
a
my
good.
channels.
Twit's a
Sorry.
good example because we don't shut down. We don't stop. So
Right.
you need to
I watch
stop.
24/7.
Yeah, you need to press stop and then turn the TV off. If you don't and you just turn the TV off, she's absolutely right. You're killing the internet.
Oh, okay. Because I got, you know, like I said, I got them on all my TVs.
I love you, Warren. Don't ever turn it off.
The only thing you can get Twit on without putting it through something else.
So you're using the Roku app and you're watching us all the time.
Well, it's through, yeah. It's
Warren,
through-
I'm going to give you a big hug.
Yeah, well, I've been listening to you since way back in the TV days and all
right.
that, so.
Oh, the heck with the little woman. Let's you and me. We'll just keep that show going. So she's right, though. If even you turn off the TV, that doesn't stop the stream. The Roku doesn't know whether the TV's on or not. So it just keeps downloading. You're downloading all the time. And you're, by the
Right.
way, you're costing me money. So if you don't mind,
Okay, shut them off. Okay.
I'm sorry. It's all right. It's worth it. But yeah, all you have to do is press stop or pause. Even you don't have to close the app. Press pause.
Well,
Actually, you know what?
Yeah, on the Roku, basically, you just put it back to the home screen.
Yeah, just press the home button. And
Yeah.
I don't know if I now have to think about this, and I'd have to talk to.
I got Apple TVs, I got Rokus.
Yeah. If you're streaming anything, just turning the TV off does not stop that.
Right.
You actually have to stop the stream. Now, on the app, if you're watching a movie, for instance, and you pause it on the Apple TV says, "Oh, great, I can get ahead," and it keeps downloading till the movie's done. So that doesn't save any bandwidth. You have to actually, exit out of the movie. I don't know on the Twit app if you press pause. I don't know what it does. I'll have to talk to Craig Mullaney, the guy who wrote it from Shift Key Software. I wonder, I don't know, and maybe I'll see if Craig's in the chat room, if pressing pause stops the download or if it just keeps on going. I bet it does. I bet it keeps on going. Because if you press play, it would just continue on. It would just have it buffered, right?
Well, when you're watching live, there's not a lot of pause and rewind and stuff like
Right.
that. It basically just plays.
Yeah, no, we don't. There's nothing to rewind on this show. You should just
Right,
listen.
on the live stream. You know,
You should just, if you miss something, the heck with it.
you go back and watch
We'll continue on. Yeah, we have on demand.
Right.
Hey,
On demand,
Warren,
right.
I thank you so much. How old are your
Thank
kids
you, Leo.
now? How old are your kids now?
27 and 22.
Do they ever come back and visit Dad?
We see each other every once in a while, but it's college is important, and they're doing their masters and
Oh, that's great.
so.
I think.
Nuclear engineering.
Oh, good. That's great. Good. That's a good thing to learn.
Well, that's what I thought. So.
They could build bridges.
Yeah.
We need
Build
more
the world.
bridges. Hey, it's great to talk to you, Warren. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
I
Thanks,
appreciate
Leo.
it.
Bye-bye.
I think every parent, maybe it's just me, but I bet every parent looks back and says, God, I wish I had spent more time, playing catch with Henry in the backyard. But, that's life. Life, you gotta do what you gotta do. The cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, the little boy blue and the man in the moon. Now we gotta pay royalties to Harry Chapin's estate. That's terrible. Eric, Kansas, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Eric.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, I had one question for you, and I'd thought of a couple of others while I was on the phone, but I'll take my answers on those off of the air.
Okay. We only have 5 minutes left before the top of the hour. So.
Okay. Real quick, I'm running Windows 7.
Okay.
And I want to know what software I can use to make turn a USB stick into an ISO.
Oh, yeah. So that when you stick it in, it boots. You could like boot up to it. Is that what you mean?
I want to test Mint and maybe Ubuntu and maybe fool around with those a little bit. And
now I got to say that those are all Linux operating systems.
Right.
They all have a live. It used to be called Live CD, but now it's Live whatever feature that lets you do that. And when you go to Mint or you go to Ubuntu.com, they'll explain how to take that ISO and make it a bootable disk. That's kind of part of the. I think they have software with it.
Well, see, the thing is, I've looked that over, and when if I put a USB stick in, I'm running Nero version 10, and then I also tried it with the built-in.
Yeah, but I mean, the installer will do that. Should do that all for you. There are a number of programs also that will do it. I'm looking at Rufus, which is lets you create bootable USB drives. It's software. That's at rufus.akeo.ie. It's Ireland. But there's also an open source project, UNetBootin, which I think is the one recommended by the Ubuntu folks. UNetBootin. If you Google that, you'll find it. UNetBootin. It's a terrible name, isn't it? UNetBootin.
It's all right. I'm used to funny names. I've been listening to you since the screensaver days, and
oh, you have nothing but funny names here.
Yeah.
This is on SourceForge, and it'll let you do it for Linux Mint. For they got Linux, they got OS 10. This is what I've used in the past, and I'm pretty sure that this will that this is recommended when you go to the Ubuntu site. It's very nice. It's very nice to have these. In fact, I have hanging from a doorway in my office a bunch of USB keys with different operating systems. And if I want to, I reboot my Acer S7 and I can have it boot to Linux, have it boot to Windows. I can do whatever I want because I've made these bootable USB keys. So it's very handy. Now, they're not going to run as fast as they would if it were running off a hard drive, but it's very handy.
Okay. Real quick, I'll take this off the air.
Okay.
These next two.
Okay.
I have a ReadyNAS from Netgear.
Love them.
I'm not really happy with the interface that's on it, and I was wanting to know if a guy could flash that with some open source firmware and.
Oh, that's a good question.
Get a little bit more control over it.
This is a NAS, like we were talking about with our previous caller, and yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if there's third-party software for the ReadyNASs, but I'll look for that. What else?
And the final one is, I have a friend that is living with me, and he's not computer literate, and he wants to watch Netflix. And I thought a Roku would be the best thing, but I don't know what model to get.
Get the Roku 3, the most recent model. It is awesome. You can spend a little less, like $30 less, so we can get an earlier version. But the Roku 3 has YouTube on it now, which is nice. The remote control has built-in headphone jack, which is great for personal viewing. You know, you can have the TV on. You sit across the room with the remote control. You plug in the headphones on the remote control you have in your hand, and now you're listening. It's great.
Yeah, I knew that they had that feature, but that's cool. All right.
Yeah, Roku 3. I got to run. Good to talk to you. Thanks so much, Eric. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More of your calls coming up. Stay here. Hey, we're going to come back with more of the Tech Guy show, as you probably figured out, recorded ahead of time so I could be in Boulder with my son on Saturday for his fraternity's Father Sunday. I'll tell you stories about it tomorrow. Should be interesting. But we want to welcome a sponsor back to the show, Lantronix and the Xprint server. You've seen this before. We've talked about it. They had a great, and still do, a great AirPrint product, but they've got a new one. And I'm really excited about this. It's the Xprint server Cloud Print Edition. You know about Google Cloud Print, right? I love Cloud Print. It means I can print from anywhere to my printer at home or my printer at work. if it's cloud print compatible. But what about older printers? Well, that's where this comes in, the Xprint Server Cloud Print Edition. Easy to set up, as anybody who's used any of Lantronix stuff will tell you. Easy to use. It will give you Google Cloud Print, allowing wireless and mobile printing from pretty much anywhere. Your Chromebook, your Kindle Fire, Android phones, tablets. And it works with the printer you already own. It doesn't matter if it's wired or wireless or USB or network. This is the first and it is the only print server certified by Google for cloud print and Android printing. It prints right to your printer. You don't need to buy a new one. More than 4,000 top printers are compatible. The nice thing about all of these Lantronix Xprint Server products is you plug them in and it auto-configures. It discovers all the printers, sets it up. This couldn't be easier. I remember when we were doing the AirPrint version, a teacher wrote us from a school saying this. She set it up herself. She said, this was the easiest thing. I didn't have to do anything. I was ready to download software. Nothing. It just works. You open it up, plug it in, and you're printing, which is pretty awesome. It is available. The web interface is for the advanced configuration if you need it, but you don't need it. You can just, in most cases, just plug in and work. It'll support multiple printers, virtually unlimited Android devices. If you've got USB printers, it will also put them on the network, which is great. So you also get network printing capability, kind of as an extra, free extra. It's great for your home, great for your office, even works with large multifunction printers. Cloud Print Edition. It's the Xprint Server. We love it always. The new Lantronix Cloud Print Edition is available now. $149.95, supports up to 10 network printers and 8 USB printers at once. So great for a larger network. And if you visit xprintserver.com/twit, you'll get more information and get our special offer code. If you use the offer code TWIT, you'll receive free shipping on your order. They'll get it to you fast. I really have to say these are great products. And if you are in the position where you have older printers but you want to use cloud print, it is. I should show you actually. Next time I do the ad, I will. I'll print to my house from here, from my Android device. It's kind of miraculous. You can do it too. Go to xprintserver.com/twit. I am Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. We're going to get back to the phones in just a little bit. Also coming up later this hour, home theater guru, 33 1/3 after the hour. Scott Wilkinson will join us to talk about home theater. Speaking of home theater, our last call, was it Eric? Right at the end of the hour, last hour, had a couple of questions. We talked about getting Ubuntu on a USB stick. There's a couple of ways to do that. Make it very easy, and they have instructions on the Linux sites, Ubuntu and others. He asked about his network-attached storage device, ReadyNAS, and I did do some research, was not able to find anybody's putting out alternate software for that. Now, you know, there's alternate software for many routers, and that's come up because of Heartbleed. A lot of people have wondered, is there any way to fix my router if it's vulnerable, susceptible to the Heartbleed bug? And believe it or not, some routers and network-attached storage devices are. Whoa, I mean, that's not good. So I looked far and wide and was not able to find anything that he could put on ReadyNAS. And part of the reason is so many people have built their own network-attached storage devices. You could take an old computer. There's a lot of free and open source network-attached software, network-attached storage software out there. So I suspect that that's really where the market is, where people are, if you're developing NAS software, you're doing it for somebody's open platform, not for a proprietary platform like the Netgear ReadyNAS. So my suggestion is, if you really hate Eric, if you really hate the ReadyNAS software, you think it's too primitive. Partly it's because it's a very simple processor. I mean, it's not a very powerful computer in there. Maybe take an old PC, put one of the NAS, free NAS, or one of the other NAS, Linux-based NAS distributions on there, and now you've got a much more capable system. Could do anything, and maybe has a better user interface for you. Finally, he was asking about Roku. I do recommend the Roku 3. In fact, I love the Roku. There are a lot of different set-top boxes. This points back to that Aereo conversation we were having at the top of the last hour. connecting a television to the internet is something everybody wants to do. Many TVs now have their own internet connections. But I got to say, on most smart televisions, the internet connections aren't great. The software is not great. I mean, the internet connection's fine. It's Wi-Fi or Ethernet. But the software that interfaces to it is clunky. It's broken. It's just not good. And I have a brand new Samsung state-of-the-art TV. This is their top-of-the-line OLED. And I try to use the smart apps on them, and it's terrible. They're terrible. Terrible. So in most cases, it is not a bad idea to get Netflix or Hulu or some of the other streaming content through a third-party set-top box. Apple's is very good, but Roku's has many more channels. It's really the most flexible. They're both $99. I just got the Amazon Fire TV. That's also $99, and I really like that. That's Android-based. Amazon has its own app store. It's the first one I've seen that you can add apps, including games, their Android-style games, onto the device and really expand the capability. That probably is one of the most powerful devices out there. It's got its own storage, and it does have a very good Netflix interface, Hulu Plus. It has Amazon streaming movies. It doesn't, oddly enough, have Amazon Music. I'm sure they'll fix that. That's bizarre. It's an Amazon product. And it doesn't have HBO Go. So this is one problem with all of these different boxes is there's no one box that can do everything you want to do. If you want, for instance, access to the iTunes store and iTunes video, television shows, and movies, you got to have an Apple TV. That's the only one that does it. Apple has HBO Go. Apple has a lot of stuff, but on the other hand, it doesn't have any Amazon stuff. Actually, does it? It might have Amazon streaming. No, I have to check. You know where you go? You want to find out what does what for how much. Veronica Belmont, my friend Veronica Belmont, started a crowdsourced Google Doc spreadsheet of set-top boxes. Now, only about 90 of you can see this at once. There's a limit on how. So if I tell you this, you write it down and go some other time. Because if you all go there now, you won't be able to get in. But I'll give you the short URL, bit.ly/settop, SETTOP, all one word. And that is a spreadsheet that has every kind of set-top box, even stuff that's no longer made, like the Boxy Box, and what channels it gets. So if you really want to know, well, what does it do? What does it do? But frankly, the answer I gave Eric at the end of the hour is the Roku 3. If you only have one device to get the Roku 3. I really like it. But if you want to play games, and you got the Fire TV is pretty good, and Google's going to get in this business pretty good with Android TV any minute now. So this is it's a hotly contested battlefield, mostly because I think every company, including Amazon, which is the last entry to the race, wants to be there when finally the broadcast companies and the content creators say, all right, we give up. We're just going to put everything on the internet. Because that day will come. They call it IPTV, Internet Protocol TV. That day will come where they're just going to say, yeah, we're trying to make money through retransmission fees of the cable companies. That's what that Aereo case is all about. Yeah. You know what? We give up. In fact, the reason this is a big change is because companies like Comcast and Time Warner, the gatekeepers, aren't going to be able to make as much money selling you those premium channels because HBO is just going to go directly to you. You'll have, as we do now, an HBO Go app. Right now with the HBO Go application, you have to say that you're buying HBO through a cable company because they don't want to make the cable companies mad. But it's just a matter of years before HBO finally says, all right, fine. Pay us $10 a month. You don't need a cable company. You just need internet access. And that's when Comcast and Time Warner and Cox and Cablevision and all the other cable companies suddenly become not premium content providers, not high-priced premium content, but just they become internet service providers. We got a big fat pipe. Here's the internet. Watch all the TV you want. And so we're in that interim period right now where all of these boxes are sort of there, but not quite. Roku is my favorite. I really like the Roku 3. One more point, and then we're going to get back to the phone calls. Somebody asked me, and I can't remember who, how you can test. We were talking about this Heartbleed thing, this nasty security bug. It's driving everybody crazy. And what we found is that some routers, some network-attached storage, some devices in your own network that are servers themselves may also have this flaw. And you may want to know, am I secure? A company called CrowdStrike at crowdstrike.com has created a tool called the CrowdStrike Heartbleed Scanner. You run this, it's a Windows scanner, so you need Windows to do it. You run this on your own internal network, and it will go out and it'll look at everything on your network. VPNs, web servers, FTP servers, databases, routers, all the stuff, including network-attached storage devices. And it will say whether Heartbleed. It's very fast. It's very small. It doesn't take much. The way it works is you'll give it a range of internet addresses. So you know your NAS is 192.168.1.115 or whatever. You'll go through the entire. You could just give it the range 192.168.1.1 through 1.256 and have it scan all of those. And if any of them are vulnerable to Heartbleed, it'll pop up, and it'll do it almost instantly. It's very quick. This is great. A nice free tool. You can download it for free from crowdstrike.com/community-tools. Again, you don't have to remember that link. We'll put that in the show notes. And a tip of the hat to my security guru, Steve Gibson, who pointed that one out. He's been very helpful in helping me understand Heartbleed, what it is, what to do about it, etc., etc., etc. Thank you, Steve. Well, again, techguylabs.com will put the link to crowdstrike.com and the free Heartbleed scanner. That's a disgusting sound. Terrible. Terrible. This is medical. All right, we're going to go back to the phones. As I said, Scott Wilkinson coming up at 33 and third after the hour. Our own gadget guru, the GizWiz himself, coming up next hour around about this time. We'll talk about more tech stuff, more security stuff in moments with you on the phone. Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. I am Leo Laporte, the tech guy, and we are talking about computers and all that jazz and smartphones and home theater and securing your NASes. Let's go right to Alberta, Canada. Ron is on the line. Hi, Ron.
Hey, hi, Leo.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. We're a balmy 60 degrees here, and you in Petaluma are only about 64. So
yeah, we're right in there.
Yeah.
So was it a tough winter in Alberta?
Yeah, it was. It was kind of weird, and we're still getting snowfalls occasionally. They're not sticking around much, but still, it makes it miserable on the roads a bit and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, spring is any minute now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Well, anyway, this question I'm asking on behalf of somebody else, but and they're using XP, and they want to continue to use it for a while, and they just noticed that Security Essentials gives you a red X saying it's no longer functioning. So my question, I said, why don't you get Nod 32 or something?
Yes, that's right.
You know, but they want a free. They want to know, is there anything free they can put on?
Well, that's a good question. That's one of the reasons people use Security Essentials is that Microsoft makes this free antivirus. It is, to my knowledge, I think that Red X is a little deceptive. Microsoft just does not want you to use XP. Really, that's the truth. They want you to upgrade. So they're doing everything they can. What they have said is that we will continue to offer new definitions for Microsoft Security Essentials. So I would check, but you should be getting definition updates. But that we're not going to update the program itself. And if you've used an antivirus, you might remember that the program tends to get updated fairly frequently. I'm not sure. I guess they're adding new capabilities or refining capabilities, but that's a little different than adding new viruses that it can detect. That's done through the signatures. So the last I heard, Microsoft is going to continue. Yes, in fact, Lars in Michigan is saying he just got an update to his Security Essentials today. So that would confirm that Microsoft is, in fact, updating the virus signatures, just not the antivirus engine. And that's probably okay. If and this is where you can help him, Ron, the key is he can continue to use XP, but the antivirus is not really protecting him anyway. His behavior is what makes it safe or not safe. And so what we know is that Microsoft is not going to update XP. Well, not for us unwashed masses. This is the thing that really galls me. It turns out Microsoft is updating XP if you're willing to pay, like the British healthcare system. So they are doing patches. They have patches. They just decided that unless you pay them millions of dollars, you don't get them. Come on, Microsoft. It's not like they're still making the patches. They're still testing them. They still got people on the job punching in, coming in every day 9 to 5, looking for viruses and exploits, and they're still making the patches. They're just cutting us off arbitrarily. So that's a little annoying, but since we aren't getting patches, we got to be extra careful. And there's a couple of things that you can get your friend to do that's really going to make a difference. By the way, we've got a video, I'll put this in the show notes, that my friends at IT Pro TV, who are a great sponsor of this show, put together on how to use XP safely. They're great. And you could show him that, but you could also tell him this. Number one, don't run as an administrator. And I bet he is. It's the default on Windows and all versions of Windows to run as administrator. Run as a limited user. Some versions of Windows, they call it a standard user. You won't be able to, for instance, install software without entering an administrator password. But that's good because the malware, if it does get downloaded and run, has the same privilege as you do. If you're an administrator, malware just installs. It goes, thank you very much. If you're a limited user, the malware says, oh, I need the administrator password, and you go, nah, next time, buddy. You don't fool me. So running as a limited user is going to protect you at more than 90% of the exploits that come out. 100% of the Internet Explorer exploits and 94% of all the operating system exploits. But the second point is don't be using Internet Explorer because that hasn't been updated and won't be updated either. Use Google Chrome. Google has said we're going to keep that updated for Windows XP users at least through 2015. So that's a safer browser that has a always updated version of Flash in it. Protects you. So get them to stop using Internet Explorer. Use Chrome. You can download it for them. It's free from Google. Firefox would be okay too, but Chrome I like because you don't have to install Flash. In fact, you would be doing him a favor to uninstall Flash, uninstall Java, uninstall Adobe Reader, because those three things also carry security flaws. By uninstalling them, you're protecting him a little bit. And then just teach him, don't install, when you see somebody send you a link or you see a pop-up on the screen, don't install that stuff. That's bad stuff. Don't install that. Or call me. You're a close friend? Are you a close friend, Ron?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm a close friend of his.
Okay.
He works in the same office.
You don't mind if he calls you?
No, he does. And,
yeah.
That's good.
I think it's really, and Steve Gibson, our security guru, the guy who does security now, said this. And the first time he said it, my jaw dropped. He said, no, XP's fine. I said, Steve, what? He said, no, really, it's fine. It's what you do on an operating system that is really the determinant of how secure it is. If you don't run as administrator, if you use Chrome, if you don't install software from unknown sources, you're fine. Problem is, a lot of the people who are still running XP are not sophisticated users, right? So they don't know all this.
Exactly. Yep.
So, but I think those three rules are, I think anybody can understand those three rules. And if they do that, I think they're fine. And as I said, you can continue to use Security Essentials. Other free software for antiviruses, I'm not crazy about Avast anymore. We used to recommend that. AVG, I guess free is still good. Actually, this would be a good question for the chat room. What free antiviruses they recommend. Avast and AVG are the best known, certainly. And, I've heard that the installer for Avast now has maybe some extra little adware stuff stuck into it. So that's not a great choice either. I liked Security Essentials. But eventually you're going to want to replace that. Again, it's not the antivirus that protects you. It's just the second line of defense.
Great.
All right. Hey, great to talk to you, Ron. Are you in Calgary? Where in Alberta are you?
Edmonton. It's about
Edmonton.
200 kilometers.
That's where the Oilers are. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep, Oil Town. All right. Hey, good to talk to you. Thanks, Ron. Take care. Yeah, Komodo? All right, somebody in the chat room says Komodo. I'm not familiar. I know Komodo. I didn't know they had a free version. That's actually, Komodo's good. Komodo. Bitdefender, I'm not familiar with. I'm familiar with the name. I have never used it. Do you want to know the dirty little secret? I really don't usually run an antivirus because I don't do those dumb things. I run as a limited user, but that's new. But boy, I love that. Occasionally, it's a little inconvenient. So you want to install a program now, you have to run as administrator. A few programs. I've had problems with Chrome. Chrome seems to want to run as administrator. So if you run into a problem with the program, it doesn't run very well. I think I had to run Chrome as an administrator once, and then after that, like it had to set up files or something. If you do find a program that's not acting right, you right-click on the icon, and in the pop-up menu, run as administrator. And tell your friend this too. If you need to, you could run an individual program as administrator. That's safe. And you'll have to give it the administrator password, but that often gives you the solution. I see a link in the chat room here to that. Maybe that's something that others have come up against. Need to run as administrator for Google Chrome. I prefer Chrome as a browser anyway. It's my first choice. Let's move on to Jorge in New York. Hi, Jorge. Oh, wait a minute. Take a break. Take a break. Sorry, Jorge. We'll get you next right after this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I am Leo Laporte, the tech guy. He is our home theater guru. Scott Wilkinson joins us each week to talk about big screen TVs, surround sound, and all the rest. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Scott is editor-in-chief of the AVS Forum. He also hosts a great podcast called Home Theater Geeks at twit.tv/HTG. And he is a banana slug, I've just learned. UC Santa Cruz. Go Slugs.
Go Slugs.
The weirdest mascot of any school in the country. And, of course, it's University of California, Santa Cruz.
Of course.
Of course. So I know you got some questions from your listeners, and that's great. I just wanted to mention, we were talking about surround sound, that I've come a long way since we started working together. When we started working together, I was that guy that said stereo's fine.
Fine. You only got 2 ears.
You only
Why
got
do you need
2
more than 2
ears.
speakers?
So, but then you've talked me into it, and I got an AV receiver and a 5.1. Why not go more? I get 7.1 or 8.1 or 9.1. I got 5.1, a subwoofer. I tell you, a subwoofer does make a difference.
Huge difference. Absolutely.
That really, the bass can really, I was watching Battleship. Terrible movie. But because I'm vibrating, I don't care. I'm like, whoa, I don't know. This is an awful movie, but boy, is it exciting. And then the other thing that makes a big difference is the center channel. So you still have your left and right stereo speakers, but you have a center channel for the dialogue.
That's right. And it's critically important to have a good center channel because that's where virtually all the dialogue comes from, which is where you understand what's going on in the movie. So it's really, really important. Now, some people will opt out of a center channel and just use their left and right speakers and employ what's called the phantom center effect, which is if the same sound is in both left and right speakers equally, it will appear to be coming from the center.
That's called stereo imaging.
Exactly.
I mean, that's when I listen to music, I hear music all.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I was happy with that, but it is a little, I'll tell you what, it's a little easier to understand if it's coming from right in the middle there. And so I get it's better clarity for the voice. The subwoofer adds some bass. But what I haven't set up in the new house, I didn't put the surrounds in because, well, it was a lot of work. So I finally got somebody in and actually had somebody go under the house, dropped the wires down from where the AV receiver is, under the house, up through the walls.
You had somebody else do that.
I wasn't going to do that. I had an electrician do it. And it's a good thing, too, because as it turned out, as he was going in the walls, there was a lot of power and stuff in various places behind the drywall. So it was a good thing he knew what he was doing. But now I have wires hanging out of the walls, and it's the surround speakers. I haven't hooked them up yet, but this was always surprising to me. I thought surround speakers should be behind me.
Well, ideally, the classic place for surround speakers is if you measure an angle from directly in front of you around 110 degrees, roughly, is where the surround speaker should be if you have a 5.1 system. So they're a little bit behind directly aside from you. So they're more than 90 degrees away from center, but they're not directly behind you either, ideally. This is the classic placement for surround speakers. It gives you the most enveloping sound field and sort of just a general sense of being in the sound field where it is you want to be. I got an email from a listener named Mark in La Puente, California, that addresses or asks about this very thing, or something similar anyway. He's got a pair of JBL ES20 bookshelf speakers that he had been using in stereo. And he's now going to buy a pair of floor standing speakers and a center channel speaker and put those JBL ES20s as his surrounds, which is a great idea. And he asked me about whether or not he should get the JBL L890 speakers for the main front, right, and left. And those are pretty high performance speakers. They're like $700 each.
Yikes.
And I say you don't need to spend that kind of money. What you really want, the most important thing about a surround speaker system is that all the speakers match tonally.
Yeah,
right?
so that's what I got ones from I got two different companies. Aperion is in the living room, and then in my little private den I have I can't remember the name, but anyway, Emotivas. Yes, you saw them. So, but they're matched. So, and it's there. The surround sounds are not as big, not as fancy at all. They're just little
and
speakers.
they don't have to be. That's right. They don't have to be. They can be smaller because they're not being asked to carry the weight of the movie, the dialogue, a lot of the music. What's going to be happening in those surround speakers is more ambience. Also some flyover effects, like if a helicopter or something flies overhead, that sound will end up in the rear speakers.
You know where I really hear it? You're watching a ball game and the guy selling beer comes from behind you. It's so weird. For some reason, surround really stands out at a sporting event.
Yes. And in that case, they often put the ambience. They mic'd it. They put mics in the stands,
right.
and they microphone. They record the audience.
A guy behind me going, "He's out, you bum! Get out of here! Pair of glasses blue." And it's realistic. I guess that's the point, right? You feel like you're at the game. Yeah.
And that's really the point of surround sound. Now, this guy Mark, if he just were to spend $150 a piece, he could get the ES80s, which are floor standing speakers. They are in the same line as the ES20s, which is what he has now, and he gets an ES25C center channel speaker for $180. He's going to save a bunch of money. It's going to be much more tonally balanced. Now, the more expensive JBLs won't be mismatched terribly because they're made by JBL, so JBL has a philosophy. All speaker companies have a philosophy of how they want their speakers to sound. But he'll get a better, more coherent, more congruent sound field around him if he spends less money and matches what he already has, if that's what he's going to use. So this is what I recommend to him. Save some money, and you'll even have a better experience. Of course, you also need to get a subwoofer. As you pointed out,
I think that's actually maybe more important than any of it, right?
Well, certainly at least as.
Yeah.
Because movie soundtracks these days have so much low frequency information in them, with explosions and planes taking off and rockets and dinosaurs roaring and all this stuff. You really need that subwoofer. You don't need full range speakers in the front. A lot of people go, oh, well, if I buy these really expensive full range speakers, they'll go all the way down to 20 hertz and I won't need a subwoofer. No. Ideally, you really want a subwoofer, primarily because the best place to put a subwoofer, the best place to put the speaker that emits these low frequencies, is not always the same as the best place to put the speakers from which the mids and highs come, because of the way the low frequencies interact with the room.
I have to say, I love having a sub, even if I'm not watching TV, but just listening to music. It just feels like you're hearing the whole thing. You know, everything's there. All the instruments are there. And if you just turn the sub off and on, and you can see it's like stuff's disappearing.
You can really hear a difference. And especially if you're listening to symphonic music or electronic music, particularly, has a lot of low frequency information. A subwoofer really does just improve your experience so much.
But now you're spending money on 6 separate speakers. Plus you have to get an AV receiver. So it is much more expensive. Do you have to really get fancy speakers? I mean, it seems like no. Anything's going to be better than the speaker in your TV.
Oh yeah. Which is why people buy sound bars, because even a sound bar, which is this little unit that you put in front of your TV that has 2 or 3 channels worth of speakers in it, is going to sound better than anything's going to sound better than the TV. Because TVs are so thin these days that the speakers just can't have enough room to vibrate.
No. And they don't expect you to, frankly, use the TV speakers. They just throw them in because you'd get mad if they didn't.
That's right.
I mean, it's 20 cents each. That literally. Yeah. I mean, it's literally 20 cents each. But I have to say, I've grown soured on soundbars. I just am not, I think ultimately I'm not happy. If it's the only thing you can do, it's certainly better than the TV speakers.
That's my point exactly.
And you
If
can
you
get
can
a
get a real
soundboard with a
surround-
sub, but it's just not the same.
No, it's not. A real surround system is going to give you that experience that you can't get any other way, really take you
It does
into that
sound
movie
good.
or TV show.
Scott Wilkinson, avsforum.com, and watch Home Theater Geeks. What is it, Tuesdays now? What day? I can't even remember.
Thursdays,
Thursdays.
2:30 to 3:30 p.m. Pacific time.
Twit.tv. Thank you, Scott. We'll talk next week.
You bet.
I am Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy Show, talking about computers, the internet, smartphones, home theater. Jorge's on the line. Is it George or Jorge from New York?
Oh, no, it's Jorge.
Hi, Jorge. How are you?
Hey, Leo. It's great to talk to you. I've been listening to you for forever, basically.
Thank you. Thanks for calling. What can I do for you?
Well, I had a question, actually. So I've been a podcaster for quite a while, actually.
Oh, that's neat. What's your podcast?
Actually, right now I'm in the process of launching my own.
Uh-huh.
Called The Tech Wizard. And,
Are you a tech wizard?
Well, kind of, yeah.
We're going to have a battle. Are you ready to battle?
Sure.
Have you ever played Quiz Up?
Nope.
Oh, this is a great game. It was on iOS for a long time, and now it's on Android. And it's trivia quizzes. And it's really fun, and there's a clock, and you play against somebody on the internet when you're playing the game. And you can challenge people. So I have friends who keep challenging me in technology. And I feel like it's a no-win situation because I'm the tech guy. If I beat them, there's 10 questions. If I beat them, well, of course you're the tech guy. But if I lose, I beat the tech guy. You want to do it with me?
Sure.
You feel confident?
Sure.
All right. Here we go. We're gonna play Quiz Up. This is I really love this app. And the category is tech. And you'll actually be playing with Chester Power, who's playing me. Round 1. Are you ready? Here we go.
Yep.
What search engine started out as Dave and Jerry's Guide to the World Wide Web? Was it Metacrawler, Yahoo, Google, or AltaVista?
I'll go for AltaVista.
Yahoo. Okay, I'm beating him already. Round 2. Which technology company holds more U.S. patents than any other company? Cisco, Apple, General Electric, or IBM?
Tough one. IBM?
IBM! No. Yes, it was IBM.
Interesting. I almost went for Apple there for a minute.
I wish there were a pause button. Antibot and GoBack are software products from which company? Norton, Quick Heal, Avast, or Nod 32? Norton, you're absolutely right. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, so I think we're tied now. The chat room's playing along with this one, by the way. Which video streaming website has the slogan anywhere, anytime? Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, or Prix? Prix?
Netflix.
No! Hulu!
Hulu,
okay. Okay, round 5. Okay. Which word was chosen as the word of the year by the New Oxford American Dictionary in 2009? Unfriend, Play Store, poke, or app?
App.
I say poke. It's both wrong. It's unfriend.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, ready for round 6? We should do this more often. This is fun. Where would kingdom.sz be from? Sweden, Zaire, Swaziland, or Switzerland?
Zaire.
Zaire? No, it's Swaziland, but I guess Zaire too. So now this is the last round. Double bonus. Are you ready? What letter turned those 3-letter Microsoft Office file extensions into 4-letter extensions in 2007? Did they add a W, an A, an O, or an X?
An X.
X is absolutely right. Has anybody been keeping track of the score? Chad, do you have any idea?
I have no idea. At the beginning, you guys were neck and neck, and then I think you guys fell together.
I'm going to say you are a tech wizard. You may continue to do the podcast, Jorge.
Thank you. That was a good game, though.
It's fun, isn't it? Quiz Up. It's a free app, and you can play against people. They have hundreds of categories. You know, everything from TV shows like The Simpsons to tech to science to math. It's really fun. I wish, but you got to remember to keep score. If you play the game, they keep score for you. So, what's your question?
Okay, so I'm in the process of setting up my own podcast.
Okay.
And So before I
What will that be called?
No, that is the Tech Wizard.
Oh, that's the Tech Wizard.
That's
Okay.
the one I'm launching now. Yeah.
Okay.
I used to be. I don't remember if you remember David Thomas or David Williams from a couple of years ago. He called you about the streaming software.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yep, I used to do the podcast with him, but now I'm on my own.
Uh-oh. Did you two have a falling out?
You could say that.
Were there fisticuffs involved?
No.
Just yelling?
He's actually in Texas. I'm all the way in New York. So
It's, it's hard. You're both doing the podcasts. You got all that money. You got to figure out how to split it. I understand. It's tough.
You got different visions for the show and so on.
Different visions, absolutely. That, originally the podcast network I do, Twit, I was going to do in partnership with Patrick Norton and Kevin Rose. And then Kevin got rich, so that left him out. And then Patrick got a real job, so basically I had to do it all by myself. So the Tech Wizard podcast, what can I do to help you there?
So originally I was recording the podcast on GarageBand using the Snowball mic.
Yeah, that's a very good, affordable way to do it.
However, I kind of want to move up, and the Snowball mic also was kind of strange for me because it has 3 settings, but either the voice was too quiet when it didn't get enough background.
Yeah, I'm not
got too much background
So
noise.
the Snowball mic is from a company called Blue, BLU, that makes very good professional mics. And then they got into this kind of low-end USB microphone, probably because of podcasting, but also musicians and so forth. They make a better mic. It's more expensive, called the Yeti. And I think you'd be very happy with the Yeti. It's a little more expensive than the Snowball. I was disappointed with the Snowball.
Yeah, me too, after a while.
Yeah, it kind of clipped and stuff like that. There is a company called Behringer, Behringer, that makes something they call the Podcast Studio. It includes a microphone and a mixer, which really helps if you're going to have more than one person on your show. Are you going to have more than one person on your show?
Yeah, the idea is to do it over Skype, either over Skype or in live, but more than one person usually.
Yeah, okay. So if they're in live, you do need a mixer because you can't put 2 mics into a laptop via USB. So this is I don't know, it's not very expensive, maybe $150. Behringer Podcast Studio. A good mic is like the professional mics like we use here in radio. You're going to need an interface that turns it into a USB mic. For instance, a very good choice is the Shure SM58 mic. And then Shure makes something that attaches to it that turns it into a USB mic. And the total cost there is around a couple of $100. Blue also makes a similar professional interface to USB called the Icicle. That's also very good. Shure's is called
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, Shure's is called the X2U. And both of these will take a good quality mic, like the SM58, which, by the way, is the mic of choice for punk rock bands. David Letterman uses it as his warm-up mic, and I've seen him swing it around his head, bang it on the floor, and it still works. So
Nice.
These are good mics, but the quality is excellent. The sound is very good because they're pro mics. The SM58, it's about $125, and then maybe another $100 for the interface. Can you afford that?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Yeah. Okay, if you don't need a mixer, then that would...
Studio.
Well, if you don't need the mixer, I would go with the Shure. It's going to sound better. If you need the mixer, then get the Behringer because it does have a little bit lower quality mic, their own USB mic, but it gives you much more flexibility, which might be more useful for you. The good news is this is not a lot of money. You put it on YouTube or, you could put this stuff out cheaply and have a lot of fun, maybe even make a little money on it. So good luck. And Jorge, call back when you launch it so we can give you a plug. Got a little more to come. Stay right here. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We're going to take a break. Top of the hour is here. If you have a question or a comment, you give us a ring or you can visit our website. We keep it all on the website, techguylabs.com. Links to all the stuff I've mentioned, including the podcast stuff I mentioned in the last call. techguylabs.com. Also a link to our fine chat and every show we've done, audio and video, so you can hear it all there. Let's take a break. We'll come back with more right after this. If there's one thing I know about the people who listen to the Tech Guy show, you're geek fanatics, gadget hounds, are you not? That's why I'm really glad to talk about Gazelle, our sponsor for the show today, the podcast today. Gazelle takes your old gadgets and turns them into money. It's like magic. Now, it's not going to work with this Trio or this visor, but if you have here, I'll show you the website. If you have, let's say, an iPad or a Moto X, Gazelle will buy it. In fact, they'll buy your used Apple or Android device right now, cash on the barrelhead. Although, I don't think right now is the key on this. I think what's great is you can go to your gadget drawer where you've been storing all that old stuff. Look, here's my Galaxy S4. This would be, I should really get rid of this. This has just been sitting here for so long. You go and you say, all right, I got it. Here's my Galaxy S4. Let's see, this thing is unlocked. Where is it? Samsung, unlocked, Galaxy. I actually have a Note 3 and a Note 2 to sell too, but that's one of the things that happens. Yeah, this is the i9500. Good condition, $170, and it's just been sitting here. I mean, if you had $170 sitting in a pile on your desk, you'd pick it up. But I'm just sitting here looking at it as if, what am I going to do with that? I bet you have hundreds of dollars sitting in your drawer. I got the Note 2, the Note 3, the S4. Go to Gazelle.com. Get your quotes. They're good for 30 days. Now, this is nice. You lock it in for 30 days. You don't have to decide right away if you want to sell it. Or maybe you don't know if the next phone is going to be great. You know, like you're looking at a Moto. Maybe you got a Moto X and you want the X Plus 1. And we know it's coming out in the next month or so. Get a quote now, because I could tell you one thing. None of your stuff, none of it is getting more valuable. It's all getting less value. $170 for a Galaxy S4. I love that. Now, once you've got all, and go through everything, okay? Get it all in there. Don't unblock the gadget clog. They will buy so many things, all different kinds of phones, including Blackberries, Samsungs. They'll buy tablets from Google, from Microsoft. Yeah, your Surface, Samsung, Asus, and Amazon. Get rid of them. Get a quote. Once you decide, they even buy broken phones and tablets, by the way. Once you decide, okay, this is it, I got it, I found everything, check out, and they will send you a box with a prepaid sticker on it so that you don't have to pay the postage. I love this. And then really days, they turn around so fast, you will get a check, or you can get a PayPal credit if you want it right away. Their guys will go through your stuff. They'll wipe any data if you forget to wipe it. I do recommend you wipe it before you send it to them. But sometimes you can't. They'll do it for you. Don't worry. And or they'll send you an Amazon gift card for an additional 5%. That iPhone, that Nexus 7, that iPad Mini, the HTC One, you get the new one, the M8. I got an M7 just sitting. I got a Gazelle. Don't be like me. Unclog that gadget jam. Gazelle.com. What is your Apple or Android device worth? Find out right now at Gazelle, Gazelle.com. I am Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, Hour 3 of the Tech Guy Radio program. We'll go back to the phones in a second. This came to me while I was buying donuts on The Simpsons Tapped Out. What a shameful, shameful thing that is. And we talked a couple of weeks ago to a guy who was spending a lot of money on Candy Crush Saga. These games, and it's mostly these mobile games, are really addictive. Tapped Out's a good example. I was freed from the chains of Tapped Out because almost a year ago, this is a game on iPhone and Android and on tablets. It's got the Simpsons characters, and you know what it is, like Farmville or anything else. You build a town. It's so stupid. I'm embarrassed to even talk about this. I've been playing it for a long time, I'm afraid. You build a town, and then you feed the people, and you do this. And it's not a game like you're shooting anybody. I kind of like it for that reason. It's not violent, but it's also kind of dumb. And you realize as you're doing it, this is an utter waste of my time. I could not waste time more playing this game. And about a year ago, it broke for me. Something happened. Electronic Arts, I sent them a note. They said, we can't fix it or whatever. They never did fix it. Even though I had $1,500, equivalent of about $50 worth of donuts. I have spent, I'm ashamed to admit, $300 on this game. That's insane. over a few years, but that's insane. I had millions of coins, which you don't buy coins, you earn them, and 1,500 donuts, and the game stopped working. And then after complaining for a while and going through a little, withdrawal, I finally said, "Oh, phew, I'm off of that. Oh, thank goodness, I got my life back." I remember I was playing Farmville at breakfast one day some years ago, because Farmville's gone, right? But I was playing Farmville at breakfast one day, and my ex-wife said, she was my wife then, said, why are you doing this? I said, I'm growing vegetables. She said, why don't you grow real vegetables? Well, at least we'd have some vegetables. It's kind of fun. I find it soothing. Nevertheless, I realize I am wasting my time. And I'm sure you've had this experience, whether it was Tetris, Bejeweled, Farmville, that was a big one, big time waster, Candy Crush Saga, The Simpsons. These things draw us in. There's something about them. World of Warcraft, there's one people just play 8 or 9 hours a day. Kids especially get hooked on this. What is it? Well, I have to tell you, and I wonder, I think someday we might see some congressional hearings, kind of like with the tobacco companies, where they sat the tobacco executives down and they said, "Sir, you know that your cigarettes are causing cancer, and are you making them addictive?" "No, sir, we are not." I think these game manufacturers are going to have to. They're going to have to get called on the carpet, and they're going to have to fess up. Yes, we're making these addictive. So how are they addictive? Well, there are a number of books written on this, which is really quite fascinating. It's become quite well known, if you are a game designer, how to get people to basically play your game obsessively, not ever stop. And with in-game purchases, that means not merely that you got them to play the game and give you $10 or $5 or $1, but that they will continue to buy donuts or magic Cupid dolls or fairies or whatever. Really insulting. When you play Simpsons Tapped Out, the whole premise of the game begins because Homer Simpson is playing a game on his iPad that he can't stop playing, and then he buys, $500 worth of in-game stuff. He said, I'll pretend my kids did it. Get the money back. And he's not paying attention. The plant blows up, and he blows up Springfield because he runs the nuclear plant. He's in charge of safety. He's busy playing the game. The plant blows up. Springfield goes away. And the whole premise of the game is now you have to rebuild Springfield. That's adding insult to injury. That's like, it's them saying it's a wink and a nudge. Yeah, we know. We're making you spend money, addict to you. So, there's actually an article that's kind of disturbing, written by a games researcher from Microsoft. It was on Gama Sutra. Behavioral Game Design. This is by John Hobson. And he talks about the techniques. He says basically they fall under the heading of behavioral psychology. One of the hallmarks of behavioral research, mostly done on animals in the field, is that most of the major experimental discoveries are species independent and can be found in anything from birds to fish to humans. The general rules, they're looking for the general rules for learning and for how minds respond. But what they've also found, of course, is how to get a mind hooked. And all this research has paid off for these companies. So one is this, you've heard the Skinner box, right? The idea of a Skinner box, and was created, of course, by, Harvard psychologist B.F. Skinner. He discovered that stimulus and reward could train subjects. He invented a box that contained a rat. The rat would press a lever to get food pellets. And eventually, the rat would learn how to get the pellets, become addicted. And essentially, I think that's part of what they're doing in these games. They're paying you off with loot, right? You get something, coins pop out of it's like a casino. I mean, isn't a one-armed bandit, a slot machine, really just a fancy Skinner box? And the quarters come out, and you get this flood of adrenaline and good feeling. The endorphins pump into you. I want that again. Let me put some more quarters in. Well, I think that's exactly what they're doing. Virtual food pellets that you eat. They're not for rats. But you are pressing at a bar. They're getting you to press that lever over and over again. How do you get the rat to press the lever as fast as possible? Not by giving him a pellet each time. Oh, no. No. In fact, if you give him a pellet every time, he goes, that's cool. Every time I press the bar, I get a pellet. No. The best ways to do it is drop the pellets at random intervals. How does that sound like? Pretty soon he starts hitting the... he learns. He's not a dumb... He's just a rat. He's not dumb. The faster you press the pellet, the lever, the more likely you're going to get a pellet. The variable ratio rewards, they call these. And it's the same in games. When you're playing a game like World of Warcraft, they call them drops, the special stuff you get. And sometimes it's junk, sometimes it's good, sometimes you don't get anything. Same thing with a slot machine, right? If you won every time, you just... Well, maybe you would play more. I don't know. Maybe... But you certainly, they've got it figured out exactly how often it needs to pay off. Exactly how often. We are basically rats with these games. And I'm so mad because I was off the drug. I had gone through withdrawal, stopped playing Simpsons Tapped Out, and now I'm back at it. Somebody told me, "Oh, hey, your Springfield's back," and I'm doing the same thing. Sigh. I think that, do they not have a moral responsibility? Is this not kind of ethically sleazy? That you can turn a real, we're not talking a rat here, a human person, somebody's father, somebody's mother, son or daughter, with hopes and dreams and aspirations and fears, and you could turn them into slavering beasts, tapping the heads of Homer and Bart, trying to get more donuts. Oh, the horror, the horror. All right, I have to play a little bit. Why don't we take a break? Just for a second, Sideshow Bob has been spotted in my Springfield. I got to get rid of him, and we'll be back with your phone calls in just a bit. Yeah, I'm hooked. I am Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We'll be right back. I am Leo Laporte, the tech guy, and we're taking your calls, talking high tech. I see a call. I feel like Miss Nancy from Romper Room. I see Jim in New Jersey. Hi, Jim. Leo Laporte.
Hello, Leo. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Okay, I'm fine. I got an old-time question for you. I just got a S4, and I was going to buy some ringtones. I didn't mind.
Don't buy ringtones. That's my suggestion.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. I didn't mind the initial course, but then I saw something about they wanted a monthly fee, which blew me away.
Ringtones are a multi-billion-dollar business for phone companies, and it's nuts because you probably already own the song. So why are you buying it $1.99 for 3 months? Why are you buying it again? So what you need is software to take any song or any audio that you have on your phone and make it a ringtone. I use a program, it's free, called Ring Droid. R-I-N... Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
R-I-N-G Droid. Is it? No, you do it on the phone.
Oh.
Makes it even easier. Any song or audio that you have on your phone, you just open it with Ring Droid, and it has nice features that let you cut it, figure out how much of the song you want to have, in the ringtone. Actually, it's a little bit better than some of the ringtone generators because you can pick what part of the sound. You don't have to begin at the beginning. You can begin in the middle. So do you have music on your S4?
No, not yet. It's so brand new. I've only had a couple of weeks, and basically the only thing I've been listening to is Tech TV.
I love you. So it's easy to get sound onto your S4. You have an SD card slot. I don't know if you've bought an SD card for it yet or not, but I think
I maxed that out. I wouldn't buy anything other than maxed out.
64 gigs, baby.
Yeah, you got it.
So you pop that out, put it in your Mac. You know, you have to get an adapter, put it in your Mac SD card slot. You can copy MP3s over. It will read a variety of sound formats. MP3s, of course, the most common. I don't know if it reads the Macintosh AAC format. I'll have to check, but it will read WAV files. It'll read almost anything. And then you can just pick the part you want. You can. It's good to do it on the. I'll tell you why you like to do it on the phone, because then you can listen to what it sounds like when it comes out of the phone. So for instance, now I am a very dapper fellow. So you want to hear my ringtone? Here, I'll play it for you. I just this is my ringtone. Oh, you know, it's silent. I got to turn up my sound here, so you can hear. Where'd it go? Where's my ring? Oh, maybe it's not on here. I have the James Bond theme. But I agree with you that the standard ringtones, yeah, it's not on here. Like this is the phone. This is the Verizon ringtone that comes on my HTC One. That's terrible. It sounds like a bad 1980s news show. And now, Eyewitness News, direct from Dearborn, Michigan. Here's Nancy Clowweather and Bob Brinker. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I don't like it. So, of course, you're going to use real music, right? Yeah. Do you know what you have in mind for your ringtone?
Well, my wife is into teddy bears, and for her ringtone, I was thinking about The Bear Went Over the Mountain.
Well, see, the bear went over the mountain. What's fun is using RingDroid, you can have a different ringtone for everybody. So that's kind of fun. I'm trying to think if the Samsung Music app, I think you may not even need RingDroid. Check first, open a song in the Samsung Music app, and then press and hold the song. You know, that's the Android equivalent of right-click. And I think you'll get a pop-up menu that one of the choices is set as, and then you can set it as a ringtone. So you may not even, now you can't edit it. It's just going to have the beginning of it, right? You know, the funny thing to do is have a Nokia ringtone on your Samsung. Just have it go diddle-day, diddle-day, diddle-day. Do you have that, Chad? Is that what you use?
So this one was actually picked up by Brian, and I'm very proud of this ringtone.
On your Nexus 5.
Nexus 5.
Yeah.
I have the same issues you.
There's nothing more annoying than a. Yeah, whose phone is that?
You don't know that?
It sounds so familiar.
It happens to be a Netflix original series.
Is that the House of Cards?
House of Cards ringtone.
You have Frank Underwood's ringtone?
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
Where do I get that?
Yeah.
Apple has the Apple Marimba tone. That's a good tone. It's very non-invasive, not annoying, the one on the iPhone. But everybody has it, right? And so phones ring at a conference, and you're in a conference room, and all the phones go off, and you don't know if it's yours or not. I think it's nice to change your ringtone, have something a little bit more customized. Boy, I want the House of Cards ringtone. The bear went over the mountain. How about maybe better for her, Jim, would be a little Elvis. Won't you be my teddy bear? Wouldn't that be good?
I've been putting these by her, and I think, if anything, she wants the musical version of Yogi Bear.
The Yogi Bear. Hey, boo-boo, it's a picnic basket. I don't remember the Yogi Bear theme. That's great.
I just thought of The Bear Went Over the Mountain today. I have to put that by her.
Bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain. Yeah, I think having a distinct ringtone, not for everybody, but at least for the important people in your family is helpful, because then you know who's calling, right? And you can pick it up or not, depending on how you feel about that family member. So RingDroid is a great free app, Jim. I like it a lot. I've been very happy with it. Do not buy ringtones. I know Verizon and AT&T are going to be mad at me. I'm undercutting their revenue stream. But it doesn't make sense. And, think about it. It doesn't. You already bought the song. I mean, don't make ringtone. I guess you shouldn't make ringtones out of songs you don't own. But to pay another $1.99, usually it's $1.99 every 3 months, something like that. That's crazy. We could have fun here with people sharing their ringtones. If you got a good ringtone, call me and we'll play it for me. Thanks, Jim. Ruth from, is that supposed to say Maryland?
Maryland.
Maryland. He spelled it M-A-R-A. Maryland. Hi, Ruth.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm a longtime listener. I used to watch you on Tech TV. I actually saw you in Maryland in live once.
Oh, yeah, that was really fun. We came to Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that was so much fun. We had soft-shell crabs. I love the Baltimore Harbor. It's great. Well, it's nice to talk to you again.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to upgrade my Comcast service. So I called to see if I could get a better price. I have internet and TV. And if I go with the triple play, which includes their telephone, I can get a bigger package.
Of course, you can get a bigger package, but it's not necessarily a better deal.
Well,
that's the interesting thing. Is you have to compare that to having a separate phone line. I'll tell you. All right, we got to take a break, but
they're telling me I can't have a separate phone line.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So let me take a break and talk a little bit why I don't like triple play packages in general. Although there are some advantages, especially with Comcast, with going with triple play. But we got to take a break for just. Can you hang on a second? Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. We'll have more with the Tech Guy Show in just a little bit. Thank you for joining me. Our show today brought to you by our friends at Citrix and a product that I use every single week, many days, called ShareFile. You may say, oh, Leo, I know it's easy to send files. I just attach them to emails. No, you don't. You should not. Oh, Leo, no, I use product X, the consumer thing. No. You need an easy way to share files. You don't want to attach files to email. There's so many things wrong with that. It's not secure. So if you're a physician, are you going to attach patient records to an email? You better not. You better not. In fact, you got to make sure it's HIPAA compliant, right? Or if you're in the financial services industry, you got to follow SEC regulations. Well, ShareFile is compliant with regulations in every industry because it's not an email attachment. It's much better than that. It's a secure link. So you don't have to worry about bounce backs. You can send files of almost any size. You don't have to worry about security. You even maintain control of that file forever. Let me show you. Here's how this works. Here's my ShareFile folder. I have a folder when I record audio for the radio stations. I save it into my ShareFile folder. The ShareFile sync program, by the way, automatically just syncs it up. See, I'm all sunk up. So I don't have to worry about getting these files. These are the folders right here. I don't have to worry about getting those files uploaded to the cloud. They always are. That's why I could see them right here. And when I want to send somebody one, I could fire up ShareFile on my smartphone, by the way. I'll see all the stuff there. Many of the people I send it to just, they have permissions. They'll automatically get an alert when I upload. See, all these people get emails when I upload. So I don't even have to notify them. I say, hey, I just send them the file. But I also, as a courtesy, I like to send them an email. So this is what I do. Here is, let's see, here's what should I say? Okay, WFIR Radio. I recorded some promos for them, right? I got to upload them. So I'm going to check that box, click the send box. If you use Outlook, by the way, there's an Outlook plugin. Then it just looks like an email attachment. But this is on the web, so I could fill out the email and all that and send it from here. Or, and this is great, I can actually just get a link. And I show you this because then you can see all the parameters. I could say, email me when the file's been downloaded. I can require recipients to enter name and email before downloading. I can say when it expires, anywhere from never to a day, to a year, 6 months, 3 months. I'm going to say, let's say this spot I sent them is only good for a week. I only want you to have it for a week. How many times can they download? I'm going to say once per user. I mean, that's silly, but you may have that restriction you want. Then when I click send files, I get a secure link to the ShareFile cloud. This is the file. It's automatically synchronized up to the ShareFile cloud. And now, and I'm going to copy this to clipboard, I can attach that to an email, and I'll show you what they get when they click that link in the email. This is the page that pops up. See, it has my logo. They don't have to sign up for anything. They don't have to do anything. They just say there's a big green download button. They also know what they're going to get. See, it's a WAV file. It's 20 megabytes. It's WFIR.WAV. So they know what they're going to get. If it's multiple files, it automatically zips it up for them into a single file. Really is easy. ShareFile has a lot more than just that. They allow you, for instance, we had a caller on the show that was a lawyer, and he said, I want my clients to be able to send me files. I don't want to set up an FTP server or something. This is ShareFile. This will do it. You can send emails to your clients that will give them a secure link that they click, that they just they drag the file to the website, or they upload it, and it's automatically sent to you securely. You control it. It's just the best. I want you to try ShareFile. I know I've kind of gone on and on, but I like ShareFile. I really do. I want you to try ShareFile free for 30 days right now. Visit sharefile.com, sharefile.com. And if you do me a favor, if you want to try it for 30 days, and tell your boss this, or whoever you're trying to get to buy this for you. My boss bought it for me because it saves these radio stations so much money. Tell them to click the link at the top here. It says podcast listeners. Click here, and that way we'll get credit. Make sure you use the offer code TechGuy and start that free 30-day trial. And when they ask you what industry you're in, you might want to mention because that really helps them customize it for the industry you're in, if that makes any sense. Sharefile.com. Use the offer code TechGuy, but you got to click the link at the green microphone at the top that says podcast listeners. Click here, and then we'll get credit. Thank you, ShareFile. Thank you, listener. And now more of the Tech Guy program. I am Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, and we are talking. I picked up on Ruth right before the break from Maryland, Comcast customer. They're trying to pitch her on the triple play. That's television, internet, and telephone. When you get telephone from an internet service provider like Comcast, essentially, you're getting VoIP, voice over the internet. They're not putting a phone line in your house. They're using the internet connection that they're giving you and making that your phone line. And there are a few issues. There are a few ways that's different from a landline phone line. For instance, if the internet goes out, so does your phone. Not true if it's from the phone company. Also, if the power goes out. Now, Comcast is going to install a big battery pack in there, but my experience has been they don't pay any attention to it. Those battery packs are only good for a limited time. After a couple of years, it may not work. Right after, do you have hurricanes in Baltimore? Yes, you do.
Yes, yeah.
So the hurricane comes, the power goes out, you need to make a phone call, and you can't because they didn't maintain the battery on your Comcast phone line. So I really like people to have a separate landline. On an unpowered phone, not a phone that you plug into the power, but it's just a phone that runs off the landline. Because even if the power goes out, the phone company provides power for that. And so in an emergency, it's a very important thing to have, especially where you have big storms. That's my problem with the triple play. Now, one of the things you can get with the triple play is Comcast gives you a better set-top box. They give you the X1 box, which everybody's raving about. Have they offered that to you?
Well, no, I don't want to change my set-top box.
Yes, and there's no real advantage. And I don't think there's a financial advantage. Have you compared what it would cost to have a phone line versus triple play? Does it save you money?
Oh, no. I want to pay for my phone line with Verizon, and I also want their package. And
wait a minute. And Comcast says if we put the triple play in, you can't have a Verizon phone line.
That's what they're telling me, yeah.
I don't think that's true. Of course, I know it's not true. Verizon would go call Verizon, see what they say. They'll be furious, and then they'll try to pitch you on their triple play. So what it is that what they're saying, and this is true probably for everybody, is in your house, you have a phone jack. You probably don't have a two-line phone jack. You probably have a one-line phone jack. And Comcast is saying, if we use your phone jack, where are you going to put the other line? I would guess that's what they're saying. But in fact, that's not a problem. You can have two lines in your house. And you can have one be a real Verizon landline, which I strongly encourage you to keep.
Right.
And then use the triple play line if you want.
Right, but they're pressuring me to port my phone number.
Yeah, they want say no.
I've been trying to, and I'm going to do round 2 tomorrow with them.
Oh, that's so annoying.
Yeah.
I think Comcast, frankly, worst company in America. They're terrible. I deal with them too. I do not have a triple play bundle. I do have internet and television because I don't have a choice, right? Nobody has a choice. There's one cable company in every town. That's it. If there were competition, they'd be a better company.
Well, I have competition. We have Verizon here. I can go back.
Right.
I have a choice.
Do they have Fios?
Yes, I have Verizon Fios as an option in my neighborhood.
Did you have it? Have you used it?
No, I haven't. My husband uses his Comcast email. He would have to change his whole email.
Oh, tell him that's a bad idea anyway. Get him a Gmail account.
I've used Gmail for years.
Yeah, hubby, come on, Hubs. Get with the program.
Right.
That's the only reason?
Oh, my neighbors, my friends all go back and forth. You know, they try to work one company against the other. They call Verizon and say,
I'm going to change if you don't give me a deal.
Yeah, right.
So one of the things Verizon might do, though, that you should be aware of, they try to cut the copper when they put in Fios. They also don't want you to use their copper phone lines.
Right.
Now, you can say, and you should say, do not, under any circumstances, cut the copper. That's your right not to have them cut that. They'll try, and they may not even ask you. They'll just do it. So you when they arrive, in fact, when you make the appointment, say, and then don't let them cut the copper. And don't let them cut the copper. Verizon can be a pain too. These companies are all monopolies.
Mm-hmm.
They're not exactly monopolies, but boy, they behave like them. So you have to stand up to them, and it's a shame that you have to do this. On the other hand, I think that a lot of people think Fios is fantastic for internet, but not so good for TV. I've heard that. I think you should have a copper phone line in your house. I do.
Yeah, I've been listening to you, and I believe that. That's why I'm not willing to port my number over to Comcast. And I'm just going to argue with them again tomorrow.
You don't have to. They're just trying to make money. They're afraid if you keep that landline that someday you'll kill the triple play package.
Mm-hmm.
Once they own the phone number and they've cut the copper, well, good luck, lady, trying to do it any other way.
Right.
Well, that's called lock-in. And that's why they are the worst company in America. They're horrible. You know, Brian Roberts, who's the CEO of Comcast, has said several times, we want to be like Apple. And I'm trying to figure out in what universe are they like Apple? I know what he means is we want to have Apple's profits, but we under no circumstance do we want to be a responsive company that puts consumers first, makes great products. No, we don't want that. We just want the money. They are not Apple. They are terrible. You could stand up to them. You're doing a good job, I can tell.
Oh, I'll try.
Yeah. You know what? Let me know. I'd love to hear what happens.
All right.
I wish you could record it and we could play it.
Oh,
just tell them you're doing. Say, do you mind if I record this because I want to play it on a national radio show?
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Because we're doing a little test here to see. You know what's funny is because I have a Google Voice number. I love Google. But this is something you should consider along with your Gmail is a Google Voice number because it's one number and then I just have it. Any line I get rings that number. So my real phone number, I don't even know my home phone number or the cell phone numbers. They all just ring my Google Voice number. And because I wanted a vanity number, it happens to be in a 302 area code.
Well, I have a Google Voice number. I just don't use it.
Every time I call Comcast, they think I'm in Baltimore. They actually go by the area code of the calling number, and they give me the Baltimore office. They can't help me. I'm in California. Oh, Lordy Lord. Hey, it's nice to talk to you, Ruth. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Have a great day, and good luck tomorrow when you talk to Comcast. Isn't it funny the way this stuff works? We have to actually kind of gear up to call customer service. This is called customer service, but it's not customer service. It's customer stick it to them. It is. We need a new name. Why should we have to gird our loins to prepare for battle, to get ready, gear up mentally and physically, say I'm not going to let them get away with this before we call them? That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Our website is techguylabs.com. Hey, I want to thank you, Chad Johnson. Heather Hammond had to take the day off. You filled in ably. Chad is my producer on the podcast network. He also hosts a show on the Twit network called OMG Craft. If you're into Minecraft, this guy does the best Minecraft show ever.
In detail.
You know what?
Extraordinary.
If you're into Minecraft, that's what you want, right? You don't just want, okay, so here's Minecraft. You can wander around and it gets dark and there's creepers. You want, okay,
I want maps to play on.
Here's
I want
how I
mods
build.
to install.
Did you see they're building a very detailed Minecraft model of something?
Of New York City?
Maybe, I don't know. I just saw this and I can't remember what it is.
The USS Enterprise?
But who does this?
Everyone.
Are you nuts? I mean, how long does it take? Let's say you want to build the Death Star in Minecraft, and that means you're going to go in it. You can wander the hallways. You can go up to where Darth Vader is. How long does that take, something like that?
Well, there's a whole bunch of different techniques. I mean, you could do something as simple as take blueprints off the internet and then convert them.
No, but you got to use that little hand and go chop, 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 chop.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
There's all sorts
Anyway,
of different ways.
twit.tv/
OMGcraft.
OMGcraft if you want to watch it. I'm Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, guess who's here? Your buddy. He also does a podcast called The GizWiz. And Dick DeBartolo, Mad Magazine's baddest writers, right here. We'll talk to him next on The Tech Guy Show. I am Leo Laporte, the tech guy, and each and every Saturday afternoon at this time, something strange happens to my Skype, and a weird man appears. His name is Dick DeBartolo, Mad Magazine's maddest writer. He's also our GizWiz, a gadget hound at gizwiz.biz. You've seen him on ABC News. You've seen him on Live with Regis and Kathy Lee. Now you're seeing him on Skype.
Yeah. That's the way my career is going.
Hey, Dickie
And
D.
soon to be audio only.
Yay. Well, you are on the radio. That's good.
That's true. I am audio. I'm here. I'm at the bottom.
Yeah. I can see you, but no one else can.
Oh.
It's probably a good thing. So, for both of us. So, no, you're a good-looking fella. In fact, we were just talking because the Boston Marathon was this week, and somebody that I follow, the founder of Foursquare, Dennis Crowley, ran it.
Oh, yeah.
And he almost pooped out. 2 miles to go. He lay down on the sidewalk. The paramedics kind of come. He said, no, I'm going to make it. And he got up, and bless him, he walked, but he made it 26 point whatever miles. And in fact, 30-some thousand people ran in that Boston Marathon this week. So
yeah, I know. That was
I'm
amazing.
with you, Boston.
And 1 million people watched.
Yeah,
Like double the
Boston
normal
strong,
count.
man.
Yeah, yes.
Love Boston. So what do you got gadget-wise for us? Because I ain't running 26 miles.
I have a neat gadget from Cobra. And I have the original one. So Cobra makes a lot of jump-started devices. And if you've never had one, they contain a lead-acid battery, which you charge every other month.
I think of Cobra as the CB radio company.
Yes, and a lot of laser detectors. So at a recent show, a guy shows me a little thing called Jump Pack. And Jump Pack, it's a little bit bigger than a pack of cards. And I said, sir, I have talked about these devices for hundreds of years. I know they have a flashlight in them. They have a USB, so you can charge your cell phone and you can charge your tablet. And then he says, how about one that takes something like this?
What
and
is
he
it?
takes out.
What? Those are jumper cables.
Takes out. I said, are you going to tell me that the Jump Pack can jumpstart your car?
No, the thing is it's not big enough.
Well, according to him, now normally I test everything that I talk about, but this is the prototype. It's going to be out in a month.
Can you jumpstart your boat with that? Because you don't have a car.
That's exactly what I said to him. I said, I tell you what, I may talk about it ahead of time, but you have to send me one. I want to jumpstart my, it's a little engine. I said, it's just a V6, 225 horsepower engine. But the problem with the lead acid battery I have is every time you need it, it's dead. Because as soon as you unplug it from the charger, it just slowly dies. And he said, well, you won't have it with this. It's 7,500 milliamps, 200 amps of cranking power, 400 amps of max cranking power. And he says, once you charge it, it'll stay charged for about a year in your glove compartment. And he said, you should be able to jumpstart your car 2 to 3 times between charging it. And I said, do you ship that with a 12-volt adapter? Because that would be ideal. He said, we absolutely do. Because that way, if you jump your car a few times and you want to make sure it's fully charged, you can just recharge it as soon as your car starts from the cigarette lighter.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is really neat. Now, it's a little expensive. The battery charger devices from Cobra, the big guys, but they weigh like 15 pounds.
Well, that's what puzzles me. Now, I guess lithium ion does have a lot more capacity than lead acid batteries. So these little lithium ion batteries that power our laptops actually could maybe hold enough juice, I guess.
Yeah, well, I will find out, but it's lithium ion cobalt. I don't know if that makes a difference.
Oh, it's got cobalt. Well,
now with extra cobalt.
Now you're talking.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Cobalt.
You put it on your battery, and it goes, "I'm not starting." And I said, "Yes, but this has cobalt." I'm starting. I'm starting.
Yeah, okay. I know nothing about it. What is it they talk about with batteries? Cranking power or something like that.
Cranking power, yes.
Does it have a lot of cranking power?
I believe it has 400 cranking power. And then if you do break down, it has a built-in flashlight and built-in SOS.
If it doesn't work, you just press the SOS and go home.
But like I said, the big guys with the lead-acid batteries run roughly, I think mine was $89. This is the suggested retail $129.95.
But it's so tiny.
It is. You know what? Everybody I showed this to says if that thing works, I am going to keep one of those in my glove compartment.
It seems
if you rent
miraculous.
A car.
Yeah. They say it's 400 cold cranking amps. That's what they're saying?
Yes.
That's a lot. Isn't that? That's enough, right?
Yeah, 200 standby, 400 cranking.
Yeah, cranking is like peak. That's because you only need it for a little bit to get the thing.
A couple of seconds. Yeah, for the engine to kick on over. But I think this is a super idea.
No kidding. And I think at $129, I would buy this for my daughter's car, for instance. Put it in the glove compartment. I wouldn't have to worry. Now, if they only make something that size that can change the tire, we're golden. It's Cobra. What's the website?
Cobra, and it's called Jump Pack.
The COBRA, Cobra Jump Pack.
Jump Pack. JUMPACK.
Well, forget CB Radio. I think they're onto something here.
Yeah, this could be a mega hit.
GizWiz.biz, no question, already is a mega hit. Thousands of people each year visit it.
Yeah.
To play the what the heck?
Tens of thousands.
Maybe hundreds. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
To play the what the heck is it contest. You know why they're all going there? By the way, all the details on the different... you did a Bluetooth toothbrush. See? All the stuff that he does on his various shows are on this website. But then as you're scrolling around and you see GizWiz Garbage, which is actually good stuff like hats... or Mad Magazine collectibles, because he's got a ton of them in his basement. You might see the link to what the heck is it? A chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. Who autographs that, Mad?
Dick DeBartolo, Mad's maddest writer.
I love him. You're playing for the June issue, the Dads and Grads issue of Mad Magazine, the head of the class issue.
Exactly.
But you've got to look at this close-up picture of a gadget, which looks kind of like a pacifier, to be honest. And identify. Now, 12 autographed Mad Magazines for the right answer, 24 for the best cute, silly, wrong answer. So, frankly, I think we all have a chance to win.
Exactly. Yes, this is where stupidity is rewarded.
And I see on here, is this a joke or is this serious? You could follow me on Twitter.
Did I?
You know it's called Twitter, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do. Isn't that funny? You know, it's probably been that way for years, and no one's ever.
You sound like my grandpa. I'm on the Twitter. Twitter.com/thegizwiz.
Well, at least the link is right, so that's good.
It does say Twitter on that part. Yeah. Hey, 12,000 people following you, and it's really fun because you talk about all sorts of great things. There's some funny stuff.
Oh, yeah. See that picture?
Yeah, that's the mayor wants to replace the horses in Central Park with a horseless carriage.
Yes.
Wow, modern times come to the Big Apple. What'll they think of next? Maybe electric streetlights? Dickie D, thanks so much. We'll see you next time, and thanks to everybody for joining me. I hope you have a great geek week. I'm Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.